Hi, and welcome back to the show. I have a very special episode for you today. It is an inspiring and very informative interview with one of our past Wellness Pro website systems students, Haley Schroth. So, in this episode, we are really going to dive into how her website has been the backbone of her business. So, she actually worked with us 2 years ago, and her website is still going strong. She's going to talk through about how she has used her work with her clients to continually update her website and all of the ways that she finds to market and grow her audience and get more clients without being on social media, which is really awesome to hear. I know a lot of us either don't want to be on social media or maybe just want to be on it a little less. So she is going to be sharing all of her strategies and a whole lot more. And if you are wishing that you had a website that helped your business grow and was your backbone for your business, you should come to my upcoming free class, the Client Generating Website Formula for Nutrition and Wellness Entrepreneurs. I'll be sharing my ultimate framework for creating a website that generates traffic and brings you new leads and clients day after day. It's happening August 20th and 21st. Register for free at whitneybateson.com/formula. So before we get into the episode, let me tell you just a little bit about Haley. Haley is a trauma-informed functional medicine dietitian and holistic mental wellness coach and the founder of The Fulfilled Fork. So Haley is devoted to cooking up a community where all folks have the tools and strategies to step into their vitality and wholeness. Haley leads The Fulfilled Fork with a trauma-informed, epigenetics-based approach to holistic nutrition and mental wellness. She mentors overwhelmed yet evolving folks with their mental and physical health as they courageously expand their comfort zones to thrive in their bodies and live a delicious life of fulfillment. Not only because Haley has experienced the burden of a bland one-size-fits-all mentality to healthcare, but because she believes that all folks deserve to feel at home in the souls and bodies they inhabit while living a life filled with purpose, passion, and profound impact. I love that. Haley also collaborates with innovative health and wellness practitioners through referrals, collaborations, and business branding photography. So let's get into the episode. All right. Welcome to the show and welcome, Haley, so much. I am so excited to have you on the Growth Show today. We actually worked together all the way back in 2022. So I really can't wait to talk. We were talking a little bit before we hit record, and there are so many exciting things going on with you that I'm just really excited to dive in and talk about where things are for you today. So before we get into all of that, so you are a trauma-informed functional medicine dietitian and holistic mental wellness coach. So what called you to this work?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like most health and wellness professionals, it's like a very personal story. Most of
Yep.
us have gone through something that has brought us to where we are today. And of course, that's me too. So my interest in nutrition really started in high school. It was mostly sports nutrition. I had acne. It was one of those things like, what can I do to perform better and make my face look better?
Right.
Very, very surface level. I was like, this will be great. I really just want to learn about this. And everything kind of transitioned when I got into college, and I didn't originally plan to be a dietitian. I wanted to own a business, and I just didn't like the business classes. I was
Yeah.
like, this is not for me.
It can be
What
kind
do
of
I
dry.
yeah, what do I do for fun? And I was like, well, I look up nutrition for fun. This is
Mm-hmm.
I'm a nerd. This is what I do. And so I switched my major the next day. And then I feel like after that, it was just my mental health journey that really brought me into my specific niche, because I could have gone, like everyone, we could all go so many different directions with our with our health and wellness businesses. And for me, I also have an autoimmune condition. So I was like, oh, maybe like that's great. Maybe I'll do that. That's what I've spent a lot of my time researching. Just like thyroid nutrition would be great. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
And thought, that's not for me. I was like, that's not it. And yeah, so as I went through therapy and I ended up in my first job as a dietitian, and I just realized after it hit me one day, I was doing diabetes education, and it was a small rural hospital. So I basically had like 4 or 5 different jobs in one. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's very
Yep.
overwhelming. Yeah, I was already like 3, 4 years into my mental health journey, and it hit me like a brick on the head one day. I was like, oh my gosh, mental health. That's what I need to be doing with nutrition,
Mhm.
because I I just feel like, one, it has helped me so much to be able to ground into like the holistic health practices. And it's like, it's not talked about nearly enough, nutrition and mental health. It's becoming more popular,
Mhm.
which is amazing. And so I'm just excited to be a part of that conversation and bring those resources to people who need them most, like I did when I was like really, really suffering.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And I love that you were also, I mean, I'm sure switching niches, switching specialties and all of that can be really soul searching and tough, but that you were open to like, no, this is not it. I need to keep searching and working to find that thing that's going to work for you. But then even then, so I remember back when we started working together all the way like over 2 years ago, even if you picked, once you picked what area of specialty you want to go into, there's still a lot of work to do. So like what were some of the things holding you back when you were just getting started? Just like dial the clock back to
Mhm.
some of the thoughts and feelings and things that you were struggling with back then.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I was so confused because I was like, mental health, this is it. Oh my gosh. But where do you go from there? Like, that's huge. Nutrition and
Yeah.
mental health. And so it hit me in January that I wanted to do mental health in 2022.
Mhm.
And then I think in February, I had a graphic designer and I was like, I'm doing this thing. Like I had had my business name since I was in college. Fun
Oh,
fact. I don't know
I
why,
love
but
that.
I was like, I want to have a nutrition business someday. Like
Yep.
I'm in my dietetics undergraduate and I'm like, the fulfilled fork, this is it. I'm like, I
And it
don't know what
works.
it's gonna be yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I had no clue.
Yeah.
I there was just something about it. And so it's just really funny how full circle all of a sudden I was like, okay, it's mental health. I thought, wow, this really fits well with the name. How fun.
Yeah.
So I got that graphic designer and immediately I was like, I need a website, because right after my internship, I had actually, the first iteration of the Fulfilled Fork was more so based on like sustainable health and just sustainable food systems in general.
Mm.
Like that's what I did in my internship and I thought it was incredible. And so I had built a full-on WordPress website. I even published
Oh,
a
wow.
couple of blog posts.
Mhm.
And this time I was like, oh my gosh, I need something. I need something better, faster.
Mhm.
And just I'm working full time, so I don't have as much time to dedicate. So
Mhm.
I as soon as I got into that program with you, I was like, okay, well we have this base idea. And I remember being so confused still. Like I was going through the worksheets that you have and I was like, what are their pain points? Like I felt too close to it. Yeah, what do people want? A lot of it I just felt stuck in the generalized trap almost
Mm.
of nutrition. Like
They want to feel better and eat better, but it's like, well, we need to get more specific, right?
right. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just very, very generalized, even though I had slapped the mental health label on there.
Mhm.
I didn't quite know how to make that fit. So I think what really helped me was, well, after I got my website live, I had one person that immediately was like, Haley, because I posted it. I had a personal Instagram. I
Mhm.
posted it on my personal Instagram. I said, hey, I'm doing this thing. I'm working with folks on their mental health through nutrition and lifestyle practices. And she was
Mhm.
like, I need this. Sign me up. Like within a week of me having my website up, he did the whole thing. I
Amazing.
was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And so with that, I also had another gal that I knew would be, she'd asked me some nutrition questions before. She worked with me.
Mhm.
And I thought, I know she struggles with her mental health. I wonder if she'd be interested. So I did like a few free sessions with her I
Mhm.
don't always advocate for doing that, but for
Yeah.
me, I was like, this is really, it's going to help me figure out who I need to be helping.
Mhm.
It's very different. So at least I had two people
Yeah.
kind of
Right.
helping me narrow it down.
Yep.
And yeah, so this gal, she and I worked together actually for about a year. It
Oh.
ended up, it wasn't free the whole time. It was free
Yeah.
for, I think, 3 or 4 sessions or so.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, working, just getting into it and working with people was the one thing that really helped me
Mhm.
understand, not from my perspective, because I was too into the nutrition piece, and I didn't struggle with emotional eating or a lot of these issues as some other people had. Like
Mhm.
there were a few things that I went through it, but it was mostly me trying to optimize and like just have a general healthy diet, so I had the energy and so my brain felt like it worked well, and
Right.
so yeah, getting deep
We
into
can't
that with
have all of the
was
problems and conditions that we are helping our clients with, but I know that's a common struggle. It's like, well, can I help with pregnancy nutrition if I've never been pregnant? And
yes.
it's like, yes, but what you're doing and what you're saying you did was like spot on. It's like, well, let me get some experience and work with these people to
Mhm,
understand better their
mhm.
their experiences.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it really helped also. Like you mentioned earlier, how I had waited in my journey. And that
Mhm.
was so important for me because otherwise I probably would have been doing some iteration of thyroid nutrition that I was interested in, but not super passionate about.
Mhm.
And when I got into that full-time position as a diabetes educator and all the other things, that
Yeah.
diabetes educator was my favorite part because I love the outpatient counseling. And
Mhm.
so when I did that, there was so much mental health that went into that, the
Yeah.
depression, emotional eating, and so yeah, I didn't I didn't have diabetes, of course, but I
Yeah.
was able to even find my niche better
Mhm.
through my full-time job, which was just so cool. So cool.
Yeah. I love that. I think, and that's something I remember when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do after leaving a full-time job or in the midst of, launching the business while still working the full-time job, right? Which is what most of us do, is going after and thinking about, okay, what are the things that really like light me up and make me most passionate? And yeah, drawing from our experiences, yeah, we're not going to go and create a company like whatever job we're currently at, but what are those pieces of our current job that we excel at, that people tell us, wow, you're just so good at that thing, or that thing that you could just do all day without ever really stopping and taking a break because you love it so much, and then figuring out like, okay, well, how can that translate into some kind of, you know, business or service or something? And I want to kind of summarize your journey a little bit. So it sounds like, you took some time to really think about, okay, what are the things that I love doing? And then you were ready to, once you got a general idea, you're like, okay, I'm ready. I need to get this moving. I've got the name, got a logo, let's get going. And so you enrolled in our program, our website program, and got some clarity in terms of maybe answer questions that you didn't have answers to yet, but at least you started understanding, okay, I need to know what the pain points are of my customers. I need to be able to write on my website clearly what my customers are going through so that I can connect with them. You still worked through it and persevered even if you didn't have all the answers yet for your website. You still launched the website and put it out there, which is super admirable because there's a lot of people that can't get to that point because it really takes. I think one of the things with websites that people underestimate is the emotional undertaking it is, because it's forcing you to really get clarity on a lot of things that maybe you weren't clear on, and becoming an entrepreneur and launching your business is already such a leap of faith and confidence that you have to have in yourself, and then you have to put all of this in writing on a website, and it's like, "Oh, man, I don't actually know all these things," and whatever. But you did it, you persevered, you got it out there, you got your first clients in the door, and then you used those experiences with those clients to further learn and refine your messaging and your services and funnel that back into the website. So you at least had the website as this starting point, but then you knew from our program how to make the edits to it, and it's evolved over time so that it kind of was this feedback loop, but not waiting until you had all the answers to launch it. Is that about right? That process?
Absolutely. Yeah, I love how you say the feedback loop, because that's exactly what it is. If it's the whole thing, like if you don't start now, like when will you start, and will you just keep, in my opinion, a lot of the times we make excuses. Sometimes we're stuck in trauma stories and all of that, which was very much the case for me with like visibility and to even
Yeah.
push publish on this website. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that was a whole journey in itself. Like my first website,
Yeah.
Whitney, I was terrified to publish a blog post. I was terrified to show anyone my website. I was so afraid of being judged. And so, yeah, I love that you mentioned that, and the feedback loop has been incredible, because since I know how to update my website on my own, I do so very frequently. Like I just added my values and I changed those up, and all of these other things that I know it makes me feel more confident in what I'm doing, and I know that it's going to resonate more with the people who want support from me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love that, because it really is, we're constantly learning from people and interacting with them and being able to update our website. So you've shared with me that your website is like the backbone of your business and how integral it's been. And you've also shared with me that you're not doing social media, and the strength of your website is what allows you to kind of not do that. So can you just share a little bit more about how your website plays into things, and kind of how you're marketing and getting clients and all of that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I started out on social media. Like I said, my first client came from my
Mhm.
personal Instagram, which is great. But in 2021, I decided that something felt very off about it. This does not feel in alignment with how I want to do business. And so I like gave myself a couple weeks, warned everybody, and I was like, "Hey, I'm leaving. Get on my email list. Like, let's go." And most everyone that I interacted heavily with on there anyway, they all came over to my email list. So that was amazing.
Awesome.
And of course, how did they do that? They did that through my website.
Love
And
it.
yeah. And so now, since I'm not on social media, my Instagram is still up. It acts as a
Mhm.
landing page,
Mm.
essentially. Do a lot of people see it? No, that's okay. That's
Yeah.
not where I want to focus my efforts. So my website, we already talked about how it helped me find my first clients, and
Mm.
I've had so many compliments on my website, by the way, just like the layout and everything, which is always nice to hear when you're doing it DIY and
Yeah. And
yeah,
I encourage everyone to go and visit it. The link's in the show notes. Yeah, I've seen it evolve over time, because we back behind the scenes, we're taking screenshots of client sites for testimonials and things like that. And we've seen you changing it up, and it's such a testament to your continuous pursuit of growth and learning, and also just you're doing a great job with it. So yeah,
thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, I appreciate that.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's also the backbone, because it helps me get search traffic through SEO.
Hmm.
And I started posting blogs, and I didn't have a very high domain authority, as as people don't when when you're just starting a website. And
Right.
so once I had the bones of my site, then I felt confident enough to send out pitches and yeah, be featured on other websites as a dietitian, because I'm like, okay, now I have this home where people can see who I am and what I'm about. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, I was able to use some of those tools to get featured in articles.
Hmm.
I had one where she was like, I love this. I'm just going to basically use your response as my whole article. And she did. I was like, what? That was wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So now I'm getting SEO through,
The backlinks,
yes,
right?
through the
Okay.
backlinks. That helped boost my domain authority. And so now more people are seeing the blog posts that I wrote.
Uh,
And with the blog posts now, I haven't been doing blog posts as much, but I have swapped over. I started a podcast. And so now the home of the podcast for all of my links, and I mean, of course, they're in the show notes, but I also include all the links and I do a summary on my website, which is really nice for me to be able to, in my newsletter, direct people there.
Yep.
So that's another really important piece, because literally all of the content I'm doing, it directs back to my website.
I love it. That's great. Yeah, it's creating this ecosystem for our customers and really thinking about our marketing as this like ecosystem, and that social media can be part of it. It can be an attraction method, but it doesn't have to be that. If we don't want to be on social, and the amount of time and energy that we pour into social, we could be putting it into doing pitches to get backlinks to our website, and the time that you spent writing those blog articles. I mean, that's so cool that you wrote these blogs on your website. They weren't getting a ton of traffic just because, the site was new and all of that. But then you did some work to get out there and get your site on other more highly trafficked sites. And now that work that you had already put in to those blogs is now reaping benefits, and people are coming to your site. And I'm guessing too, people are opting into your lead magnet or your email list, and that kind of becomes this funnel. So the traffic is coming to your site. Maybe they're booking calls if they're like just right on the spot, seeing your blog article and then going to your services and saying, yeah, this is definitely what I need. Or they're going onto your email list, and then you're nurturing them through your email list, your newsletters. Now you have the podcast too. And that's just getting people to get to know you more. And then I'm guessing every so often you are pitching a little bit to your email list. And so is that how kind of you're doing things these days? And
Yeah.
anything else to add?
Yeah. I would also add that it's helped me connect with other practitioners, whether they're counselors or other dietitians or whoever. It could be somebody in like a business coach or whoever. It's just helped me connect with folks also outside of my clients and people that are looking to work with me. So it builds, for me, it has also built the connection, which is the most important thing for me. And when we're looking at SEO and like the whole know, like, and trust thing, that has also been really, really beneficial. So yeah, that's the last thing I think I would add is that with all of that and not being on social media, collaboration is one of the most important things for me. Otherwise, how do I find new people? Yes, through SEO, but we all know that that's a long game. Most of the time, it takes a while to gain that traction. So yeah, how do I get people onto my website sooner and just to know that I exist? And so it's the collaboration for me that's also really important through the website.
Yeah, that's such a great point. And it's something I'm working on too in my business is, basically you're borrowing other people's audiences. We're all sharing because we're doing different things. It's all about collaboration, not competition. And by going in front of other people's audiences, obviously not physically, but in their email list, or maybe if they have a podcast or they're doing something to their audience, you might be showing up there. But doing that collaboration so that then people from their audience that resonate with your message, they're coming over onto your email list, and vice versa. If there's people that you're showcasing on your podcast or talking about in your newsletter, there might be some people from your audience who could benefit from that person's services, and they go over there. And honestly, the way I look at it too is I'm just trying to benefit my audience as much as possible. And so why would I hold back showing another expert, another caring practitioner or service provider when I know that they offer something that is also valuable and could be a great fit for my audience? Obviously, I'm not necessarily showcasing, yes, another web designer and doing exactly what I'm doing. And I'm sure you're not speaking about that either, but there are so many complementary things that
Mm-hmm.
that we see out there, and that there are other practitioners and providers where we can support one another in ways that you're not even aware of. So being open to that collaboration as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you know what's funny though is because I I had that thought that I was like, well, other like mental health dietitians is there a way to collaborate? I've
Yeah.
I've been in some other groups with dietitians, and just through these conversations that we've had, I realized, oh my gosh, there actually is. If there's somebody that's not appropriate for what I can do, I absolutely want to send them there. So it's a little bit different than your situation.
Yeah.
And
But no,
so,
you're right though. Like, yeah, and
yeah,
I have worked with other web designers who it's like, yeah, maybe my program
yeah,
is not the right fit, but maybe
yeah,
this web designer service is the right fit. Yeah.
hmm
Good point.
yeah.
I mean,
I
there
think,
really is no reason not to collaborate.
yeah, it's just really interesting because we're just not taught that at all. We're taught to be in competition, especially as dietitians, I feel. I don't
Mhm.
know, like the whole internship process and getting in, it's all a competition. And so
It's true.
when you get out of that, you're like, wait a minute, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be this way. And I can, if somebody has more of eating disorder,
Mhm.
I do more disordered eating, so I don't
Mhm.
do that.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, well, I need to send that person here,
Mhm.
or even, I don't know, sharing resources and referrals. I've just found that being more open-minded to collaboration can
Yeah.
totally benefit everyone. And
Mhm.
we don't have to be, I guess, competing for clients and
Right.
doing any of that. You can work with somebody might work with multiple dietitians and find them both very helpful because they do different things. Like
Yep.
I do nutrigenomics, for example. There's not a lot of dietitians that are doing that in the way that I am with mental health. And so
Mhm.
I feel like almost any dietitian I could probably collaborate with. They're like, hey, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right. I think that's really interesting too. Like, I mean, this is a different example, but I worked with two business coaches for a while because one of them helped me more, or she still helps me with my marketing and
Mhm.
launches and sales. And then I had someone else that was more about mindset and just building the business. And honestly, yeah, it was very complimentary and it helped me get the best of both worlds. And so I think that's a really interesting idea too, that, hey, maybe sometimes two dietitians is better than one, and that complementary service. And so you have a page on your website, and we'll link to it in the show notes, both for anyone listening who would maybe want to collaborate with you now or in the future, but also maybe as just an example of what this type of page on your site could look like, so that as your website is getting found in search, in whatever, whoever is reading articles and seeing your name, they're coming to your site and they're seeing the different ways that you're open to collaborating, which is really great too. And which is, we want our websites to be doing some of this talking for us, right?
Mhm.
Whether it's selling to our customers or telling potential collaborators, here are some of the things I'm ready and willing and want to collaborate with you. Here's how, which is
Mhm.
just, that's such a great idea. I love it.
Yeah, I did it because having a lot of conversations at one time and just doing that when I don't have to convey that information and I can just send them to a page and they
Yeah.
can look at what they need is so helpful. That has reduced my overwhelm with collaborations and just business in general so
Mhm.
much. So yeah, highly recommend doing that if you feel even remotely the same
Yeah.
about yeah, overwhelmed with collaborations. And I have noticed too that through SEO, I've had medical doctors and other people join my email list. And I'm like, huh, I would love to hear more from them. And like, what are they looking for? I,
Yeah.
I have no idea because I've never talked to them, but I'm like, this would be so interesting to find out. And so maybe, yeah, like filtering people, those folks through that sort of email branch would be more beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. You could have like a separate sign up form or however you want your process and flow to go on that page, to have
Mhm.
people go through there. Or even if people are just joining your email list, at some point you could even send like a quick little survey of like, hey, what are you here for? Looking to get services, looking to just learn more, and then see what happens from there too. So super cool. But yeah, I love this idea that collaboration is actually another form of marketing that, we think about social media a lot. We think about blogging as, like you mentioned, it's a long game. And then people think about ads, because how do we get traffic to our business? I think that is the biggest question and problem that every business, no matter what kind of business it is how do we get in front of more people? And
Mhm.
so getting these collaborations and getting in front of other people and other people's audiences is just another great way of doing it. And I think for many of us who are more heart-centered service providers and all of that, that maybe doing these collaborations can feel very fulfilling as
Mhm.
a more human way of marketing our business and getting in front of people versus having to dance on a reel on Instagram and
Yes.
DM people and all of that. So I love it. And you shared with me too that you actually just passed a really big milestone. You had been working part-time and running your business for quite a while. And you, I think, recently went full-time into your business, right?
I did. Yeah. So it
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, I was working full time at the
Oh, full-time. Okay. Wow.
yeah, so I was doing full time at the healthcare center, very
Mm-hmm.
rural. So again, many hats,
Mm-hmm.
very like in leadership, leading diabetes education, doing all the inpatient, doing the long-term care. It was a lot. So doing like 5 jobs in my full-time job and trying to also build a business and seeing clients when I got home and doing my website when I got home. It was a lot. It
Yeah.
was a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very excited to have taken some of that off my plate and have moved full-time into my business.
Congratulations. So what kind of was that final tipping point, or maybe a couple tipping points of
Mhm.
you saying like, okay, I am ready to go into business full time?
Yeah, I think most of it was internal. And by that, I mean, it was feeling safe enough to do that, both mentally, emotionally. Entrepreneurship is
Financially,
a lot.
probably a little bit
Financially,
too,
yep,
but yeah.
yep, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I had to get to a point where I felt safe enough to do that and to put myself out there and really go all in on myself. And
Mm-hmm.
it has, I mean, I'm like 6 months into this. It hasn't always been easy. I did take a
Yeah.
couple months of a break because I was very burnt out.
Mm,
That
good
was
for
that
you.
was the whole thing. So I thought,
Yeah.
I need to take some time, take care of myself, and then I will go all in on myself. And so yeah, the stability and the mindset and all of the emotional and mental work has been just so crucial as a
Mm-hmm.
turning point for me.
Oh, yeah, I can attest to that. It's an emotional roller coaster running and owning a business. And I used to have this fantasy of like, well, one day I'll figure it out and then it'll all just be easy.
Mhm.
And I'm now 6 years in and I have not yet come to that day. But I've made peace with that fact that each challenge or new thing that we learn in our business is just preparing us to then grow to that next level. And you talk about like a child
Mhm.
has to crawl before they can walk, and then they need to walk before they can run. And if all babies came out of the womb and started running, there'd be a lot of hurt kids. You need to kind of get 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 that momentum and get some of those bumps and bruises and all of that, but also I think have some support around you to ensure that you keep persevering and all of that. But then also on like the financial and business side, I have to imagine that over these past few years, I mean, it sounds like you've definitely grown in terms of your knowledge of growing your business and the strategy in which you grow your business and the confidence in which, hey, I'm going to not go on social media and I'm going to do these other things. And I know that if I keep working on them, maybe not everything is going to pan out exactly how I expected, but I'm going to keep growing and learning and all of that, I have to imagine that these past few years has given you that confidence too, that it's like, okay, I think I have a fairly good idea of how I'm going to make this work as
Hmm.
well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had to have a very good for myself to feel the safety to make this move. I
Yeah.
had to know, okay, what are my options financially? How, yeah, if I need to do some contracting work
Hmm.
and support myself that way, which I have been doing, just so because I am full time, and it's a even just moving from full time employee to doing contract work and running everything through your own business. That even itself, that's like the learning how to crawl. I feel like you got to crawl there first in a lot of
Hmm.
instances before then you can just take on everything without that
Like
supportive
safety net.
work like contracting and yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think I've talked about this a little bit in prior episodes and different things about having different revenue streams in your
Mhm.
business as well. And I think like I have multiple revenue streams. I do some consulting still in the school nutrition space, even though you will never hear me promoting that work because that's just work that personally I got that through networking. It's a great relationship. It's great long-term work. And I'm not really interested in growing it anymore, but it's great. But what I show up as is a web designer and running that. And really a lot of all of my marketing and sales efforts go towards running that business. But would I be happy with the income that I make just straight from the website business? No, I have other income streams coming in as well. My goal is to make the website business replace all of that other income, at some point and whatnot. But we all have different goals and different numbers that we want to hit and comfort levels that we have. And I think it's really important to know that just because you see someone showing up a certain way online or something like that, you don't know their financials and their business and what they're doing. And I think there's absolutely no shame in pulling together various things to support your business and make it successful, you know.
I love
But
that.
yeah, well, and I think too, probably the contract work and the consulting work and some of these other things that we do is it's great and it's like active income, it's coming in right away, but we probably do want to move to replacing that, taking that time back for ourselves so that we can spend that time working in our business and growing it and being more strategic with that time and not trading time for money. But that's where we have to take those baby steps of, okay, we need that revenue coming in so that you could quit that full-time job and have the mental space and the mental energy to actually grow your business and all of that. And there is that goal in the future to replace that income with income from your business. And in order to do that, you need to have these systems running in your business, having your website running, having your email list going, growing that, getting people coming, traffic, so that it's like, okay, these systems don't need as much of my attention now. I can focus on serving more people or launching a new product or whatever the case may be.
Hmm. Yeah, I just love that you've shared that part of your journey and that yeah, you still do some consulting work because I do think that it's a I want to say it's just such a norm in entrepreneurship to make it make whatever you're doing your full-time thing as fast as possible when yeah,
Mm,
it's not always in your best interest to do that, whether it's financially, mentally, emotionally, whatever. So
yeah.
yeah, I just appreciate you even sharing that piece of your journey. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I appreciate everything that you've shared today. Is there any other advice that you would like to give our listeners and audience about them as they're growing their businesses and looking for inspiration to keep going and growing?
Yeah, I the only thing that's coming to mind right now. There's so many important things, but apparently this is most important for right now. So,
Okay.
resourcing yourself mentally and emotionally is going and financially. We'll put that in there because that helps with the mental and emotional.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing, because if you don't feel, if your nervous system isn't regulated enough to be able to support your clients in the way that you want to show up, that's what I think is just the most important thing you can do. So whether that's working with a coach and doing all the other wellness things I know everyone is doing, and also having your website so that you do feel, for me, what my website has helped me feel regulated, which sounds really weird.
Mm.
And now my website is a regulation tool, but it really is in my business. It has just helped me so much feel safe enough to be visible, which was a big barrier for me in my journey. So that's what I would say.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, having that, like I think you mentioned, like this home for you, for your business, and for people to come into, I think is so key. And I definitely attest to getting the resources to support your mental health and your energy and the direction. And I will like give a plug for our program too, because when you joined us, it was 4 weeks. We have now doubled the amount of time. Actually, we're going to be opening doors soon, and it's now an 8-week program just to really make sure people have as much time as they need to get the support, because it's not just like watching the videos and all of that. Like we have calls, we have a forum, because I think as we're figuring stuff out in our business, getting that feedback and having someone that you can rely on, that's been there, that can empathize with you, and it's going to support you no matter like whether you just need that moral support or whether you're actually like, I don't know if I should put this service on my website right now, or is this clear enough? Like, have I niched down enough? You know, is this headline the right headline? Whatever it is, it's getting that feedback and support to keep you going, because that's what's important, is keeping going, putting one foot in front of the other. And we may not be 100% ready to launch whenever that launch period is, whether it's saying, okay, this is the name of our business, or this is our website, or starting to share about our services and all of that. But no one's ready.
You'll never be ready. Just join the program. Just let me tell you.
Thank you.
Just join, get the support. It absolutely was so instrumental in my journey and to getting to where I am today. And I just cannot say enough about how amazing having the direction, the guidance, and especially the support for me was just so helpful.
I love that. Well, thank you, Haley. And it's so rewarding to be able to talk to you 2 years later and just hear how it's going, and know that what we built with you, what you really built, but we supported you in, is still serving your business. And just super proud of you and all the stuff that you've put into place. It's really inspiring. So thank you. And so we'll have your link. So thefulfilledfork.com is your website. We will have that in the show notes so people can check it out and check out the collaboration page as well. And we'll have your just other, so not socials, not Instagram, but any other ways that people can find you online. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience about how to connect with you and find you before we wrap up?
Yeah, I would just say, as you can probably tell, I'm very open to collaborations, whether it's through sharing referrals or going into other people's programs and connecting people through your network. Like I love to connect people. So whatever it is, if you're open to collaboration, I am also open. So I would just invite you to join me in bringing more of these resources to more folks, which is really what we're doing when we're collaborating. So that is what I would like to share.
Love it. Great. Well, thank you so much for your time and for all of your openness and sharing so much about your journey and your business. I know other people are really going to find it useful. So thanks, Haley.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Oh, wasn't that such an inspiring and just lots of ideas flowing about different ways that you can be getting clients and getting more email subscribers and traffic to your website without necessarily burning out on social media and marketing. Loved it. So if you are interested in working with us on your website in the Wellness Pro website system, I've got great news. Doors are going to be opening soon. So go to wellnessprowebsite.com to check it out and get on the wait list so that you are the first to know when enrollment begins and also get insider access to updates and bonuses too. And remember, if you want to learn more about what makes websites successful so you can really get into the nitty-gritty of how Haley's website is so successful and supports her business so much, and how a website can really help your business grow, come to my free class happening on August 20th and 21st, the Client Generating Website Formula. Just register at whitneybateson.com/formula. Plus, when you join the class, you'll get my ultimate website roadmap resource, which is a step-by-step guide to launching a website that actually grows your business rather than just sitting there doing nothing. So that's yours free when you join me in class. Just go to whitneybateson.com/formula to grab your seat. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.